And you'll see it's a beautiful story, and it's true. So there's a rabbi named Rabbi Aryeh Levine in Israel. Anybody heard of him before? He's considered one of the, when I used to, in my yeshiva, they used to have pictures of rabbis on their walls. He was one of them. He was a big Baal Chesed. He used to do like loving, kind deeds with people. He's considered the rabbi of the prisoners. Maybe that's why I like him. I don't know. But so it's a story. He used to always escort people. Like if they caught him on the street in Jerusalem, he used to take them, ask them, how do I get to so-and-so place? He didn't just tell them where to go. He took them all the way there. And so his grandson, Benji Levine, who tells this story, he asked his father, where did Saba learn all this? Where did Saba learn this from? Like, who taught him to do this? Not everybody does that. And so he told him a story how his Saba, Rabbi Levine, was visiting someone in jail, like he did. And in jail, there was a gentleman there who got incarcerated because he was involved in a raid against the British. This was like in Palestine or Israel, like back a long time ago, and they were under the British rule. And he didn't have contact with his wife, and all of his friends were out on the outside were afraid to contact her. She was in another area because then it would get them in trouble. So he asked Aryeh Levine, when he went to visit him, he goes, when you get out, can you please contact my wife and let her know everything's okay? And Rabbi Levine said, sure, whatever you need me to do, I'll do. So he set on his way to go visit his wife and try to find her. He went on his way, and along the way, he got lost. Okay? And it was Erev Shabbat, right before Shabbos. So it was in Jerusalem. Everybody in Jerusalem was getting ready, they're stressed out right before Shabbos to get everything together. And he sees a woman through a window. She's cleaning, she's getting ready, and she sees him, and he looks lost. And he asked her, how do I get to so-and-so place? She opened the window. All of a sudden, he saw her take off her apron, come outside, and start talking to him. Before he knew it, she walked him in the middle of everything she was doing. She walked him all the way to where he needed to get to. And he asked her, he goes, this isn't normal for you to be doing this. This is Erev Shabbos, just tell me where to go. I'll figure it out. And she goes, well, I thought about that, but then I realized that this is my special mitzvah. He goes, what do you mean your special mitzvah? And she goes, when my father was on his deathbed in his last days, he told us, when you die, you can't take anything with you, but you do take the mitzvahs with you. And he says, you find a mitzvah that you really connect to and become an expert in it, and do it all the way till the end. And she said, he helped me find this mitzvah of escorting people to where they need to go. And so whenever I'm asked, I do it in its entirety, from the beginning till the end. It says of Aryeh Levine, when he got home, this is his grandson saying this, he wrote in his journal the following: today I learned from a young woman the importance of fulfilling this commandment. And from today on, I'm going to be careful to always perform this mitzvah. So he wrote that in his journal to himself. So fast forward many years later, this grandson happened to come across this story from reading the newspaper in Israel. Someone told him, the Yediot Achronot has articles about your grandfather. He's well known in Israel. He read about this in Yediot Achronot. So after he read about this story, he read in Yediot Achronot that his grandfather's really good at escorting people. And then he asked his father, and his father told him this story. But he read all about his grandfather. So he was inspired from the stories and from what his father told him. He said, I'm going to take on this mitzvah as well. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to take this seriously. When someone asks me where to go, I'm not just going to tell them where to go. I'm going to try to take them there. So 2 days later, he's walking along the street, and guess what? He sees somebody, an old elderly man, looks lost across the street. He's like, Shem, I accepted the mitzvah. But it's like, already? You're testing me already? But he took it upon himself. He walked across the street. He engaged the man. He said, where are you going? Are you lost? He goes, yes, I am. Looking for Portzim Street. And so the grandson, Benji, says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the mitzvah all the way. Let me take you where you need to go. So he took him where he needed to go, and he said, okay, did my mitzvah, see you later. And the old man almost stopped him. He said, why'd you do all this for me? Similar like Rabbi Aryeh Levine asked the woman, why'd you do all this for me? He goes, well, I learned this from my grandfather that just recently that you have to do this mitzvah all the way. And he goes, well, who is your grandfather? He goes, you won't know my grandfather. He goes, well, give it a try. He goes, his last name was Levine. He goes, what was his first name? He goes, Aryeh Levine. He goes, the tzaddik of Aryeh Levine? He goes, yeah, that's my grandfather. He says, and he started to cry. Started to grab onto the Benji's, the grandson's coat, and started to cry. He goes, why are you crying? He goes, my name is Menachem Ro'i, and I just wrote stories about your grandfather, Yediot Achronot, about all the kindnesses he did to people. And now his grandson found me lost along the way, and he escorted me to where I needed to get to. And then the grandson said to him, because his grandson, read your stories and learned how important and beautiful it is to escort another person on their way, that's why I did this. So, aside from being like a multi-layered story, there's three layers. Like, she taught the Saba taught the grandson did the mitzvah, and all came full circle, which I think is beautiful. But this actually stuck with me, this message. Like, I ideally try to do this. If someone asks, like, try to take them as far as you can, with your time. That was pretty impactful in that sense. And also what I really liked about the story was the idea of, like, you do a good deed, and it kind of can cause a chain reaction and cause other good deeds.